Welcome in, everyone, and thank you for listening to the 93rd ever episode of the Missouri Sports Podcast, brought to you by 106 Apparel and recording from the Revel Advertising Studio in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Albert, alongside my good friend and fellow Mizzou fan, Kyle DeVries. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Today, I'm great, Cameron. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, as per usual.
Per usual, yeah.
Yes.
We're kind of predictable, aren't we?
Yeah. You're always great. I'm doing well. But I think that's good. That's better than being terrible and awful.
That's what the people want to hear. They want to hear we're doing great and well, I'm sure.
How could we not be great and well when we're together in this room talking about sports, talking about Missouri, just wonderful things.
You just found happiness.
Yeah.
That's the true meaning of life right there.
If I'm ever feeling down in the dumps, I just close my eyes, bring myself to this room. Just sometimes I just put on the podcast and just pretend like I'm here with you guys and all my worries float away.
That's why we do it, for your own therapy.
Well, Kyle, I was trying to think of a therapy segue. I came up empty. We've got news to talk about. I've got a fun little quiz segment for us to do later. We're going to really test our memories a little bit, test our knowledge of the recent history of Mizzou basketball. So that'll be fun. And I'll set it up so that the listeners can play along if they like. And before we do that, we do have some news to talk about. Let's see here. This is hardly news, but I wanted to mention it because it was really funny, and we talked about it last night over dinner. The KU Athletics Survey.
Oh, yeah.
That, if you didn't see, I was directed to it from the Antlers on Twitter. They retweeted the link and said something like, it'd be a shame if this ended up in the wrong hands. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, it looks like it's officially from the university, but I think it was the original link that the Antlers tweeted was from, I think, a Kansas City area journalist, perhaps, that covers Kansas.
Yeah, it might have been the Star, actually, Kansas City Star.
And just asked a lot of questions about the athletics department from a fan perspective and gauged the interest of the fans. And I'm going to take a wild hunch that it gauged the interest of people that hate Kansas a lot more than it did any fans of Kansas.
Yeah, I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with that survey, but whatever it was, they did not fulfill.
They're going to have to throw it out completely.
Yes. And
try a different method.
Yeah, I think we both took that survey.
Yep. I think I said my favorite KU basketball player from 2019, 2020 was Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, he was made some nice contributions.
Yep. And then I think another one of my answers was Adidas. I can't remember what the question was.
I think I tried to answer it somewhat reasonably enough so that they took it seriously on some of my really negative answers. But I just think they're going to have to throw it all out anyway.
Yeah.
So they started asking me questions like, who's your favorite Kansas basketball player? And I'm like, I don't know. I can't even think, especially when they started asking me about my favorite Kansas football players. I'm like, I literally don't know any names of Kansas football players. So
yeah,
this is a waste of my time at this point.
A Kansas football player from the last 10 years.
No, I can't either.
When did Desmond Briscoe last play there?
I have no idea.
I mean, that's literally the last one I could think of. It'd be like 2010-ish. So yeah, 10 years. When did you say that KU football would be back into a bowl game?
I think I said 2025 or something like that.
Oh, that's much more generous.
That was one of my answers where I was like, I should probably just be somewhat reasonable on this, so they take some of my other answers seriously.
So they just don't throw the whole thing out?
Yeah.
I think I said 30-27.
Well, that could end up being pretty reasonable.
1,007 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not a single year before that.
No. In 30-27, they actually figure it out, and they actually become a dynasty.
Can't wait.
At that point.
Oh, yeah, they really turn it around at that point. Yeah, okay. That could happen.
Yeah, that was fun. And like we said, they're going to have to try again with whatever data they were trying to gather from that.
They need to send that to some Kansas alumni or something.
Yeah.
So
directly to their email, probably not in a public forum, and also probably tell the journalists, just, hey, don't tweet this out if you wouldn't mind.
I'm sure they probably have figured that out at this point.
I'm just imagining whoever had to tabulate the results of that. Like once they start going through it, and they're just like, I mean, like,
I think the Mizzou fans got a hold of this.
yeah, Mizzou fans, and if K-State fans found it,
True.
It's like, man, 17% of people's favorite basketball player last year was Snoop Dogg. And like, what's the name of the FBI informant that like?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
We always jokingly say his name.
Oh. I'll think of it by the end of the episode. Probably.
All right. Yeah, that would have been another funny one to put down as like your favorite player, TJ Gasnola.
Gasnola, yep.
All right. So if you haven't seen that, I would recommend you go. The Antlers tweet is probably still up. You can go take that survey for yourself. And if you have any funny responses, you can let us know. For some real news, let's go over just kind of how it looks like things might start to return to normal in Columbia relatively soon. Mizzou is planning to have in-person classes starting August 24th. So just another step in the right direction if your end goal as a sports fan is to watch football or attend a game potentially. But specifically about football, you might have to reference what we were talking about earlier, because I wasn't sure about the dates on everything, but football practice is going to officially start. It sounds like the NCAA has okayed football practice to officially start this summer, and then leading up to the first game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so right now, I think voluntary workouts are going on right now. So a lot of the players arrived on campus within the last week or two. So they're getting some workouts going, some strength stuff, I think. But I don't believe that that's a mandatory requirement yet. But I think the NCAA Oversight Committee approved today that mandatory workouts would start July the 13th. And that's when they really get into their drills and their workouts and their strength and conditioning stuff. And then
that's when they add the conditioning to the strength once it's mandatory.
Yeah.
Probably not a lot of voluntary conditioning going on.
You're probably right. With fall camp set to start, I believe August 7th. So yeah, that's a pretty big step in the right direction if you're hoping for football to start on time. So it's looking like that's going to happen. We still just don't know at what capacity that'll happen yet, but lots of good stuff happening. And then I think that Missouri said they would not be publicly releasing if they have a player or more than one player test positive for COVID-19. I think that's probably a good thing, because a lot of times people overreact and it gets in the wrong hands and people freak out or whatever. So I'm fine with them just kind of flying under the radar in that respect this summer.
Well, we've talked about how if your plan is to resume activities, any activity that's even close to similar to sports, your plan for when somebody tests positive has to be, if you're going to even try to restart, your plan can't be, if somebody tests positive, we're stopping. Mm-hmm. Because that is almost inevitable.
Mm-hmm. We won't have sports for a year or two, I think, right. if that's the case, if that's the plan for the contingency plan. So I think that, yeah, if we get to the season and it starts and somebody, like a new case comes up, I think they will quarantine them. I think if it's in season, they'll probably have to release that information. Maybe not have to, but they will, because we'll be wondering where so-and-so is for the last 2 weeks. But I think they're just going to have to quarantine that person and move on, and that'll probably just ultimately be what happens. And
I think we'll see asymptomatic players test positive, sit out, and then just rejoin once they
I think that was
don't test positive anymore.
I think that was their original plan too, which has since changed. But I think they originally were going to only test people that were showing symptoms, and then everybody kind of started just testing everybody. And so yeah, a lot of teams started getting these positive cases of people that were asymptomatic. So that's why we just randomly had 6 players from a certain school test positive, but nobody was showing symptoms. So I think it's going to be okay for Missouri to not release that information.
Yeah. I think I saw maybe that the NBA said that if a player tests positive, I'm a little iffy on this. I don't know if it was specifically if they test positive for COVID or if they are choosing not to play in this shortened rest of the season. But they basically said that player would be done for the rest of the season.
Okay.
And a team could take on a replacement player at that point. So that'll be interesting. But there's a big difference there that I can't remember whether it's if a player tests positive or just chooses not to play.
Right.
I think once it resumes, if a player chooses not to play, they can't just rejoin later if their team makes the Western Conference Finals or something.
Gotcha. I think that is one thing we talked about last week. Obviously, if you listen to this podcast fairly often, you know that last week we tried to record and then didn't record and had to record a second time. So I believe the first time we recorded, we did talk about the NBA and their timeline, which we didn't talk in the actual episode that was published. But
you just confused a lot of people.
Yeah, I probably did. But the NBA, it looks like they are. They've kind of said. How do you not know? You were here. You were literally here
both times.
Anyways, they have produced a timeline in which they're going to be following for their season, and so it's just a good sign, I think, for sports in general that they have a plan in place and things are going to be ramping up in the next month or two. And it's weird, the NBA season's going to probably push back the start of next season, so everything's just going to be interesting for the next.
And NBA and NFL potentially are going to overlap.
Yeah,
even compete in certain time slots potentially. So that'll be really interesting. And there inevitably will be players in these various leagues, including college football, that are maybe a little skittish of returning to play in this environment. And so it'll be interesting to see how that's handled. There's been definitely some NBA players being vocal about the fact that they're not comfortable returning. So they might just get replaced for the rest of the season.
Yep.
I don't know what they'll do next year if there's still not a vaccine. But, I mean, that's easy for me to say right now when things are fairly stable as far as the virus is concerned. If things took a turn for the worse, then I'd probably be singing a different tune. But as of right now, we're moving forward with sports eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of sports, how about that segue? Missouri was going to play Missouri State in basketball next year. Now, they've maybe replaced them as an opponent. However, this won't be till the year after that they play Liberty. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, Mizzou basketball just finalized a plan to play at Liberty in Virginia in the 2021-22 season, and then home in Columbia the season after that. Since the MSU game was just taken off the docket, and it would have been the second game potentially in Columbia would have been that first year, this Liberty matchup, we can draw some comparisons there, and it's just pretty disappointing that they would not be playing Missouri State and instead be playing Liberty. But just some more news about the future schedules. So
I'm sure that options may have been a little bit limited. If this truly is like a direct replacement for that game getting scrapped, and if you were the ones complaining, I guess, about the Missouri State matchup, then I hope you're happy, because this is definitely a downgrade from that, especially us being from Springfield. I think we were kind of excited about that matchup, but this is kind of disappointing from a basketball standpoint, especially having to go on the road to play Liberty. That's not ideal.
It's not regional at all, and just lately we've been hearing about some really solid non-conference matchups that even scare me a little bit as far as what it might mean for the record once they're done playing them all. But this, I don't know, just doesn't really do a whole lot for me. And going on the road, I don't know, I guess I'd rather see a more marquee matchup. And if you're concerned about Mizzou taking a loss to Missouri State on the road, I don't know. I don't see how that's any worse, considering the fact that we've established they're not competing for the same recruits. and pretty much never have, I don't really see how that's worse than losing on the road at Liberty. But hopefully we don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, I just don't think that we should have to go on the road to play this caliber of team really at any point. That's, I guess, my feelings on that. I mean, obviously there was a little bit of questioning why we were going on the road to play Missouri State, and that's fair. But I think that probably made a little bit more sense maybe than going on the road to play Liberty.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you got a much worse chance to come out of Virginia with a win than you do coming out of Springfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you go to Springfield and win, then you just assert your dominance over the other teams in the state.
Yeah,
as you should.
If you go to Liberty and win, then it doesn't.
Who cares?
Yeah.
And coming to Springfield appeases the Springfield fans that don't get to.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot. There's people here that, Missouri could kind of use that as almost an advertisement to people in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that would be the biggest crowd for any Missouri State game all season.
Probably.
Missouri State men's
100%.
game. Yeah. Well, maybe someday. I think Konzo.
I feel like if it's going to happen, it's going to be when Konzo's at Missouri.
I think Konzo's all about it. I think Sam Snelling over at Rock M Nation was kind of speculating that maybe Konzo actually floated out to the media to maybe gauge the reaction, and maybe if it was more positive, then maybe the administration would have backed the idea a little bit more.
Should have said Liberty first.
Yeah, maybe so.
Been like, Missouri State's not so bad.
If that was really the plan. Yeah, float something else out there first.
And then replace it with Missouri State.
Something better, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, let's see. More basketball stuff here. I don't know how much this really pertains to Mizzou, but Isaac Haney is transferring here to Springfield to play alongside Anton Brookshire at Kickapoo next year for both of their senior seasons. He's a Missouri State commit and tears it up in Class 1 or 2, whichever one.
It's literally Class 1.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you want to take your game to the next level, you go play Class 4 or 5. I don't know which one Kickapoo actually is.
Yeah.
I think they're Class 5 because I think they were in line to play CBC in March.
Yep.
On the way to the state championship for one of those teams probably.
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting. Kickapoo potentially is going to be excellent next year. So he'll be at the Tournament of Champions, obviously, and maybe just a little bit more. If Kickapoo is, adding another D1 player, then playing alongside him for Brookshire, maybe that'll be helpful and get a little bit more exposure if Kickapoo's that much better and winning the state championship or something like that.
I can't remember. In the blue and gold, did Greenwood and Kickapoo play, or are they in the separate brackets?
I believe they did.
I believe Greenwood won that.
And I think,
So that'd be kind of cool if they played again and Kickapoo's got another player.
And I think potentially Greenwood's going to have another player.
Oh, really?
That transferred and had to sit last year.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So it could be very interesting in Springfield, especially when Brookshire's up to that number 2 in the state ranking, which he's not that far off. We'll get to that in just a sec. Before that, though, Missouri offered another Class 2021 forward named Zach Hicks. Looked like they were on a Zoom call with Konzo. Looked like both of his parents now have said something about having a good time talking to Coach Martin on social media. And wouldn't you know it, he's 6'7". So just add it to the list. 6'7" forwards.
Just unbelievable. Zach Hicks, to me, watching some of his film, looks far surpasses his rankings and the offers that he has so far. Missouri is far and away his best offer. I think the only Power 5 offer that he has. He is, to me, looks very versatile for his size, can shoot really well, can move well. I enjoyed watching this film, and I'm intrigued by him. He's a guy I would love to see jump on board. And at the rate that they're recruiting him with the other offers he has, I would not be surprised to see that happen in the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But
very intriguing. Let's just continue talking about recruiting because ESPN updated or released for the first time potentially their top 100 of the 2021 class. I believe as an update spurred on by reclassification from the top player previously to class of 2020. I think I've got that right. But anyway, new rankings, and ESPN is now the first of the big three recruiting agencies, along with Rivals and 24/7, to have updated their 2021 rankings in light of this reclassification. So that's good news for Mizzou in that there's a little tiger logo, beautiful, number 1 ranked tiger logo, next to the 90th ranked player in the country, Anton Brookshire from Springfield, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a huge jump in basically not being ranked on the other recruiting services, not being in the top 100 for ESPN. I want to say that actually 24/7 has a composite, or the 24/7 specific ranking, not the composite, was like 160 or something in the nation.
Yeah, he's now a 4-star player alongside that number 90 ranking, which to me was a little bit surprising, honestly. Not because I don't think he deserves to be there, but just because of his previous rankings. So obviously, and like we thought would happen, his commitment to Missouri really put him on the map. Committing to a Power 5 level school kind of gave him some exposure. Some people might have checked him out a little bit, maybe learned about his Tournament of Champions appearance. And I think it's well-deserved. And like we talked about whenever he first committed, I think he's going to shoot up in those rankings in Missouri, deservedly so.
Just to be clear on one thing, the entire ESPN top 100 is at least 4-star. The 5 stars start at number 16. So
that's not very many players.
Yeah. So definitely elite company if you're a 5-star according to ESPN. And that's typically about where it is for the other agencies as well. Kyle, Missouri has offers out to the top 2 players in 2021, Chet Holmgren and Patrick Baldwin. Patrick Baldwin has trimmed Missouri from his list, but Chet Holmgren's still out there, hasn't trimmed his list yet with a Mizzou offer. What percentage chance do you think he ends up with the Tigers?
Chet Holmgren, I'd probably put it at about 96 maybe. Is that too generous? You laughed at that. Was that too generous? That
might be generous. Wait, I said likelihood that he does come to Missouri.
Yeah.
Oh, 96? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you think?
I was thinking a little lower, like 0.
I don't know. You really swayed me. I think I agree.
You think you agree 0? From 96 to 0.
Yeah. That was like a little over the top.
Yeah, reel it back in. 0 is more reasonable.
Yeah.
Aminu Muhammad, 10 in the nation. So I think he's got that number 1 spot in the state of Missouri locked down.
Yeah, I don't believe that's going to change.
Mizzou offer out to number 11, Kennedy Chandler, who I thought, until he just like shot up the rankings, I thought Missouri had a really good shot at him. And I thought that he could be a part of an amazing 2021 class when he was ranked like 60th. And now he's a 5-star, nearly top 10 in his class. So that's probably not going to happen. Blast from the past, your guy from, I can't remember what school, but his name is Trevor Keels, who was in the Tournament of Champions that we were really impressed with. And you called him out specifically in the wrap-up show, the post-tournament show, as being a guy to watch out for. So he is 5-star, number 14 in the class. So you always say, I'm no scout, but you're 1 for 1 there.
Yeah, I really picked him out of the diamond out of the rough there, didn't I?
Yeah. I was looking at a couple other guys. We talked about Jonathan Lawson recently. He comes in at number 46. There was a couple of the Michigan guys here.
Buffkin?
Yep, Kobe Buffkin, 63. Pierre Brooks, who had a Mizzou offer but committed to Michigan State, 66. Jaden Akins, Point guard from Michigan, 67. And then the last one I think I want to shout out here is Jordan Nesbitt, 84th. So my prediction, they're kind of neck and neck.
It's going to be really interesting to watch.
For Brookshire to overtake him as the number 2 player in the state of Missouri. But Jordan Nesbitt is holding his own solidly in that 4-star spot, top 100 in the country. And the measurables listed on ESPN, 6'6", 200 pounds. That's ideal for a scoring wing in college.
I don't want to get into this whole discussion because we've talked about it a lot, but there just has to be something that we don't know about that is off the court, or a personality trait that Konzo doesn't like or something. There's got to be something. I mean, there's just utterly no reason why you don't. You offer number 1, number 2, number 11 player in the country who are just randomly not even close to you geographically. You have no ties whatsoever, but you don't offer the in-state guy who you should be making your money on.
Right.
And that's...
Yeah. Until
it's got to be something that we don't know about.
Until I hear differently, I have to assume that Konzo did his due diligence and there's just something there that he's not about, but I don't know. And that's not to say anything about Jordan Nesbitt. I mean, just something doesn't fit. It's just not a fit for some reason.
If I were the coach, I would have offered him.
Maybe just for the optics alone.
Seriously. Yeah. So I don't get destroyed about it on Twitter every day.
Yeah. Is that all we have for news? I think we just about covered it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure we're not missing anything here. Seems about right. Okay, Kyle, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in your ability to remember Mizzou basketball players from the last 10 years?
I'd say like a 8.4.
Okay. Well, that's what we're about to try to do.
How about you?
Oh, I'm going to have to go 9.0.
Okay.
Feeling pretty confident.
You probably should.
When you're put on the spot and there's just like...
If I was not recording a podcast, I think I'd feel better about it.
Yeah. But we're working together.
Yeah,
we're going to be working together here.
Yeah, that makes me feel better.
That makes me feel really, really good. So I'm going to put a link to this quiz in the description of the podcast. Feel free to pause the podcast right now, take the quiz on your own, see how many you get right, let us know, and then laugh at us when we can't think of some of these names, and shout them in your car if you are thinking of them. We'll try to listen and go and just, it'll work out where it'll come into our brains before, after the fact.
Do you want to tell them what the title of the quiz is?
It is called, let me pull it up on my end. The title is, can you name the Mizzou basketball starting lineups of the 2010s, parentheses, 5 players with the most starts per season. 5 players with the most starts per season.
The quiz is very highly ranked, 5 out of 5 stars.
5 stars. We'll probably have to give it 5 stars after we do it. It's only been played 41 times. It's not verified by Sporkle. So I don't think they've gone through and confirmed the answers, but we're going to have to trust like a Ross. And he's the person that made this quiz, presumably a Mizzou fan. Like a Ross, been a member on Sporkle since 2012. He's only made 1 quiz.
Wow, he's been dreaming of this quiz ever since he made this account. Finally gathered enough courage to do it.
Like a Ross on Sporkle, if you're listening, thank you for making this quiz. For the listeners, pause, do the quiz, then resume. Same thing if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, we're going to try to have video of us taking the quiz inserted into the YouTube video. So if that works out, fingers crossed, you'll be able to follow along and see us fill it out as we go. Kyle's going to be looking at the TV. I'm going to be looking at my computer in front of me. And I'm anticipating, since we're going to probably talk a little bit, we're going to have to pause it at just pause it at 5 minutes, no matter what. We can reassess. It only gives you 10 minutes to take the quiz. but we'll probably be a little bit slow at it. And I don't want to just let the timer run out. I want to give it our best shot. Are you ready, Kyle?
Yes. Quick question. Whenever it says the starting lineup for 2010, is that the 2009-2010 season or the 2010-2011 season? I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah, I guess we're just going to have to find out because 19
is the most recent one on there.
Right. And that's, I'm
that
guessing.
Ended in 20.
I'm guessing that's not this most recent season. I'm guessing that's 18-19.
Okay.
So that would be 9-10
at
the beginning.
What year do you feel most confident about? And we'll start there.
Oh, I feel most confident about 2012.
12, yeah.
And we'll know how that works.
Exactly.
If that's the case.
Okay.
And I think how this works, I've taken other quizzes on Sporkle. And when we type in, for example, when we type in Pressy, which I think should be our first one that we type in, and we're cheating right now by going over the quiz before we started the time, but that's fine. When we type in Pressy, I think it's going to fill in like 6 spots.
Yeah, I think you're right. I also just noticed that on the 2012 thing, it lists 4 of the spots as a guard. So
that's helpful.
Yeah, so that's definitely the 2011-2012 season.
Right. And sometimes it says center, which is interesting because I can guarantee you, well, I don't think there's any players on the 18-19 or 19-20 roster that are labeled as centers. I think they're all the big men are forwards.
Right. And in 2013, it says center, and that's obviously someone we'll name in a second.
Well, maybe we should just do the quiz.
Okay, maybe we'll just do it, but be ready to pause if we get on a tangent, okay? You count me down, and I'll press play when you do.
Good luck spelling it Oriaki.
I told you it's going to be a mess. All right, I believe we are recording, screen recording.
Okay.
I don't know where my little thing went, but it's somewhere.
Bear with us so you can watch this alongside as we fill it out.
Well, let's just start the quiz.
You're looking for like the little
screen
recording
for the little
thing.
box.
Yeah.
I can't find it.
I think I might have the most trouble with that very first year, the 2010.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Cameron, what if you do that?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay, terrific.
Great.
All right.
Fantastic.
So.
All right,
start her up.
Ready, go.
All right, I think we go ahead and do Pressy.
Mm-hmm.
SSEY.
Ooh, it even put Matt Pressy in there for 2012.
Love it.
All right, so let's just complete 2012. Let's put Kim English.
You can just do last name.
Okay.
Denman.
MON. And then
Ratliff. RATLIFFE.
Cool.
Not Radcliffe, as a lot of people did.
Yes.
Let's just move forward from 2012.
Type in Mike or Dixon. That would have been 2011? Okay.
Yeah.
And then who would have been that last forward? Oh, type in Bowers. Yeah. Cool.
Ooh, and that 2013 as well.
Yeah.
Let's not worry about 2010 for now, unless you're in that train of thought.
No, let's just move on.
Okay, so 13, Bell, Keon Bell, Jabari Brown.
Ernest Ross, maybe?
Yep.
That was 14, okay.
Oh, Oriaki.
Oriaki, yep.
ORI.
H-I, I think?
KHI. Ori. Oh,
there's an A in there.
IAKHI. Yep.
Okay, and then Clarkson for 2014. Oh, nice. Wes Clark. We got that.
Okay, 2014 forwards.
Post. That's probably 2015.
Rosberg.
There you go.
1S.
B. URG.
Most starts, 2014. Wow, Rosberg, 3 years. Oh, I'm ahead of you.
Yeah. Okay. Man, who is that other forward for 2014?
Okay, we're just going to have to skip ahead for now. Just give me Smith.
So it didn't give you Drew Smith then?
No. So this is 1819. Jeez. Tillman.
Til.
Mon. Geist. Geist.
Is Nico on there?
No, he didn't start enough games. Let's see. Puryear. Puryear. Vanleer.
The two.
All together.
There's not another second V. Van L.
Van Leer.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Cool. What about Terrence Phillips?
Yeah, Phillips. All right, let's look at 20. Okay, Cameron, pause the clock. Let's think about 2010 real quick.
How far back was Leo Lyons?
That potentially. Okay, that. I think 8-9 was the Elite Eight.
Okay.
So that was Leo Lyons' senior year, as well as Damari Carroll.
Yeah.
So I think though we still have JT Tiller and
who else was on that team?
We still have JT Tiller and Zaire Taylor.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cheat.
Justin
and
Safford.
write
I think
some
he
of those
was
down.
maybe gone by that point. Was that Safford senior year?
We could give it a go. Keith Ramsey.
I was trying to think of his name.
All right, let's start this bad boy back up.
Okay.
Before you guys run through them all.
Okay, press start it and then I'll give you some.
Okay.
Tiller. Taylor. Safford.
Nice. And then
Ramsey. Oh,
awesome. Well, let's go.
Yeah. Just destroyed that 2010.
Yeah, we did. Oh, let's fill out the last one on 2014 if we can. I feel like it was.
Who was number 2? There was a transfer. Like a JUCO transfer.
Torrin Jones?
No. Oh my gosh. Criswell?
Yeah, Tony Criswell. CRIS. Well.
Nothing.
Nope. J3. Jonathan Williams.
Yeah. Williams.
Let's go. Okay, so we got the first 5 years.
Cool. Let's see. Maybe Robert Woods? Russell Woods?
Russell Woods, yeah.
Who's Robert Woods?
Woods,
He's a wide receiver for the Rams.
Yeah.
Let's do 2018 real quick.
Man, that
Robertson.
2017 team was awful. Jonte.
Barnett.
Porter. Oh, Barnett, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because Jonte was a 6-man.
Yeah.
Who else was on that 2017 team? That was awful.
2017, we got Phillips, Van Leer, Kevin Puryear, Russell Woods. So who would have been like a 2-guard, like Naaman Wright?
Yeah. Naaman Wright. Jakeenan Gant. Gant.
Didn't start enough games.
Didn't start.
That's so depressing. Naaman Wright, that didn't even
Gil
get to
Caesar
17.
For 2015.
Yeah,
Gil
he got
Caesar.
hurt though. And how do you spell that? I'm gonna look it up for you.
Okay. Man, we got 4 minutes to name 3 more. I think we can do this.
Okay. Gill space Caesar. Nothing?
No. Who was the other guard on that team?
He didn't start enough either, though.
Tremaine
Walton.
Isabel.
Maybe KJ Walton?
Yeah, try Walton. There we go for 2017.
Isabel? Nothing. Okay, who are we missing in 2019?
Yeah, that shouldn't be that hard.
We've got Geist, Mark
Watson,
Smith.
Torrance Watson, or
no,
Jay
Pickett.
Okay, so we got one left in 2015.
A guard in 2015. So Cam Anderson's first season should have been Martavian Payne, but he didn't.
Should have been Gil Caesar, but he hurt his back.
Yeah.
I know Gil Caesar started some games, but obviously this
Not
quiz is
enough,
not accepting
apparently.
it. So, and it wouldn't have been D'Angelo. What was his
D'Angelo
name?
Allen?
Allen, yeah. I mean, you can try typing Allen, but I don't think it's going to be there.
That's it.
He wasn't even really a guard.
Was there an older player?
Deuce Bello.
No way he started enough games. He hardly played.
I mean, try Bello. No. He played that year, though, I think, though.
We're going to feel so silly. 2015, Wes Clark. Naaman Wright would have been playing the 3. I feel like we're looking for a 2 guard. I think.
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah. Ryan Rosberg and J3 down low. Man. Kim Anderson's first season.
I think we've named everybody from that freshman class. So
Yeah.
it had to have been a player that was already there.
So who was on the bench? Who backed up Clarkson? Wes Clark. Who backed up Jabari Brown? I have no idea. Negus Webster Chan? Was he already gone by then?
He transferred after 14, I'm pretty sure. We got a minute and a half. Whoever this player was probably was gone by 2016.
Yeah, most likely. Jeez.
And it wasn't Stefan Jankovic.
No, but you can try it. He
I
didn't
don't even
start
know how
enough
to.
games.
No, he didn't.
And he would have been called a forward, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh man, this stinks. So close.
It's probably going to be so obvious when we see it.
40 seconds.
All right, somebody's yelling it in their car. I'm going to try to hear them from the past.
From the past.
I'm in the past. I'm hearing you in the future yelling it in your car as you're driving. I can't quite make it out.
Who would have made threes?
Nobody on that team.
Nobody made threes.
Oh my gosh. Should I cheat? Should I go to Kim Pom?
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much are out of time. So, yeah, we're going to have to come to the grips that we're
failures.
We failed.
Average score is
57%.
Wow.
And we got 98%.
Oh, did it tell us who we missed?
No, it just says question marks.
Oh, that's brutal.
That is.
Makes you look it up. Okay. Did we try Gil Caesar with a hyphen?
No. I really think that could be it. I think it might be Gil Caesar and we just didn't spell it right or something. We didn't spell it how the quiz wanted it. Because I can't think of who else that could possibly be.
Can you do restart?
Yeah.
And
try Gil Caesar with a hyphen? GILL hyphen CAESAR.
It's not it.
What? Okay. Ken Palm. 2014-15 is what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Williams started 31 games. Tech Eagle Caesar started 12 games. Wes Clark started 19. Tremaine Isabel started 1. Oh my gosh. Man. Somebody is yelling it in their car.
Oh no.
Keith Schamberger. Wow. Started 30 games in his lone season in Columbia.
That hurts.
Transferred to Missouri from Hawaii, ironically, as Nikas Webster-Chan and Stefan Jankovic had just left Missouri for Hawaii not too long before that.
Mm-hmm. And then recently we thought about him because of Drew Buggs transferring to Missouri. Kind of a similar player in a similar role.
Man, we were Keith Schamberger away from a 100%. And also a couple minutes that we cheated.
We deserve to be roasted.
I don't even know if it was. I mean, you had plenty of time before that, so you probably would only have missed like a minute.
I just wanted to kind of talk about 1 year to try to make that somewhat of a okay segment for somebody just listening. But I'm afraid that probably failed. So you're going to have to go check it out on YouTube if you want that to make any sense, most likely. Mm-hmm. We were just naming names from everywhere.
Yeah. I can't believe we remembered, like, Justin Safford and didn't remember Keith Schamberger. For some reason...
You can't believe it?
For some reason, like that 2019 was like actually kind of difficult too.
Well, anytime you're like just like put on the spot on those type of things. Oh, actually, I went to Quiz Stats, and you can see what percentage each guess. All the correct answers, how often they are guessed correctly. Number 1 at 88% is Mark Smith.
That's interesting.
Number 2 is Kim English. Then Marcus Denman, Pressey, Tillman, Bowers, Wes Clark. And I wonder, we were actually going for Clarkson, and it auto-filled with Clark. Mm-hmm. I wonder how many, I guess it's, Clark is always going to be ahead of Clarkson because whether you're trying to get Clark or Clarkson, he's going to come up first.
What was like the least answered?
KJ Walton.
That was one we kind of struggled with.
And then Keith Ramsey was second to last. And then Mr. Question Mark himself, Keith Schamberger, was third to last. But 20% of people got it, 21.4. Sometimes on those quizzes you can like customize it and put in like bonus answers. So like you'll type in an incorrect one, but it'll be like if you typed in Porter, it might say like Jonte, 6th man of the year or something. Or it'll say
6th man of the year.
It'll say Gil Caesar started, he was the next one with 12 games started or something like that. But Keith Schamberger, man.
Well, I'd say we did okay.
Considering the average person that takes this quiz gets 57, we got 98.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that will be screaming Schamberger.
Oh, yeah. Even they wouldn't have necessarily gotten every single one of them that we got, but they would have definitely gotten Keith Schamberger. 4.8% of users got all 50 correct.
Wow, it could have been us.
9.5% got between 1 and 4. And that's because they retook the quiz to try to type in Gil Caesar a different way.
Yeah, we were one of those people.
All right. Well, that was a great time.
Yeah, hopefully if you take the quiz, you have fun doing that.
Yeah, let us know your score if you weren't spoiled by us doing it ahead of time. Even if you were, see if you can remember all those people anyway. Even though you just hear it. I mean, nobody's going to miss Schamberger at this point, but there could be another one that we just said that people are like, I know they just said it. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if I took it again right now. Off air sometime we should race and see who can do it between me and you the fastest.
I know that if I tried to do it myself, there would have been a lot that I wouldn't have gotten, probably.
Teamwork makes it happen. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that comes through on the YouTube end and everybody can follow along and see how it went.
Yep. Guess I can tell the folks where they can find us, huh?
It's about that time, I suppose.
All right. Well, you can find us and this episode on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We are on Twitter and Instagram at Mizzou Sports Pod, and you can email us at MissouriSportsPod@gmail.com.
And like I've said 3 times already, go check out the YouTube video because it's going to be really cool. You can follow along and subscribe and leave a comment and like it and leave a rating or a review wherever you're listening or watching. And thank you for listening and watching, and we'll see you next week.